Have you ever noticed how the same thought, when you repeat it enough times, starts to feel like a fact? That's the power behind thoughts are things. And once you really let that idea sink in, a guided journal stops being just a notebook. It becomes a tool, a mirror, a daily conversation with your subconscious mind. And honestly, that's where the real shift begins. Because if your subconscious is quietly running the show in the background, then every page you write is like placing a new instruction into the system. Not overnight magic, not fairy dust, something better. Repetition, direction, identity change. That's what manifestation practice is really about. And if you've ever tried manifesting but felt stuck, inconsistent, or just plain doubtful, I want you to hear this clearly. You do not need to become a different person to create a different life. You need better tools, better rituals, better inputs. And one of the most underrated tools is a guided journal built for daily manifestation practice. Now, here's where it gets interesting. A lot of people think manifestation is just visualizing a dream life and waiting for the universe to do the rest. But in my experience, the people who actually see changes are the ones who work with their mind on purpose. They understand that the subconscious doesn't respond well to vague wishes. It responds to repetition, emotion, and consistency. That means if you keep writing the same limiting story, your mind keeps rehearsing it. I'm not lucky. Things never work out for me. I want abundance, but I always end up stressed. Sound familiar? The good news is your subconscious can be retrained, and guided journaling is one of the simplest ways to do it. You sit down, you write with intention, and you start feeding your mind a new script, one that sounds more like this. I am worthy of receiving. I know how to recognize opportunities. I can become the kind of person who attracts what I want. That's not just positive thinking. That's mental conditioning. So what should you actually look for in a guided journal for manifestation? First, it has to feel easy to use. If a journal is too complicated, too vague, or too spiritual in a way that doesn't connect with your real life, you'll stop using it. And consistency is everything. The best guided journals give you structure without making you feel boxed in. They ask the right questions. They keep you focused. They help you reflect on what you want, why you want it, and who you need to become to receive it. And that last part matters a lot, because manifestation isn't just about getting, it's also about becoming. Let me tell you why this matters. If your journal only asks, "What do I want?" you might end up with a list of material things and no emotional clarity. But when a journal asks, "How do I want to feel?" or "What beliefs do I need to release?" now we're talking. Now you're working with the subconscious. Now you're getting underneath the surface. The best manifestation journals usually include a mix of prompts like gratitude, intention setting, affirmations, visualization, and reflection. And honestly, that combination is powerful because it speaks to different parts of your mind. Gratitude tells your brain, I already have enough to build from. Intention setting says, this is where I'm going. Affirmations start rewriting the inner dialogue. Visualization gives the subconscious a picture to work with. Reflection helps you notice patterns, blocks, and breakthroughs. That's the formula. Simple, but not easy. And that's okay. Because what's really happening here is that you're building a relationship with your own mind. And if you want a guided journal that actually supports daily manifestation practice, I'd look for one that has a page flow you can return to every morning or evening. Morning pages for setting the tone. Evening pages for reviewing what happened, what you noticed, and what you want to carry into tomorrow. Morning is especially powerful. Why? Because your mind is more open before the noise of the day takes over. You haven't fully entered problem-solving mode yet. So if you use that window to write your intentions, your affirmations, or your ideal outcomes, you're basically shaping the mental lens you'll wear all day. And at night, that's when the subconscious loves repetition even more. Before sleep, your brain is naturally more receptive. So if you end the day by writing what you're grateful for, what went well, and what you're calling in next, you're sending your mind to bed with a new emotional frequency. Now, I want to be real with you for a second. A guided journal is not a magic fix if you only use it when you feel inspired. That's the trap. Manifestation works best when it becomes ordinary, boring even. A small daily ritual, a few minutes, that's it. You don't need a perfect hour, you don't need candles, crystals, or a dramatic routine, unless those things help you focus. What you need is repetition that your subconscious can trust, because the subconscious learns through patterns. If every day you write, "I am becoming more confident," even if you don't fully believe it yet, your mind starts to entertain the possibility. Then that possibility becomes familiar. Then familiar becomes normal, and normal becomes identity, and identity changes everything. So, when you're choosing a guided journal, pay attention to the kinds of prompts it gives you. A strong manifestation journal should help you explore things like what you truly want, what's been blocking you, what you're ready to receive, and what habits would align you with that future. In my experience, the most effective journals don't just ask you to dream bigger, they ask you to think deeper. For example, instead of only writing, "I want more money," a good prompt might ask, "What does financial safety feel like in my body?" That's a much more powerful question because it connects the external goal to an internal state, and the subconscious responds to feeling just as much as it responds to words. That's the kicker. Your feelings are part of the message. You can write beautiful affirmations all day long, but if inside you still feel desperate, scared, or unworthy, your subconscious is going to notice that mismatch. That's why manifestation journaling works best when it includes emotional honesty, not just wishful thinking, real reflection. What beliefs am I still carrying? Where do I doubt myself? What would change if I trusted myself a little more? Those are the kinds of questions that shift things. And let's talk about consistency for a second, because this is where people either transform or drift. The best guided journals make it easier to show up every day. They reduce decision fatigue. You don't have to stare at a blank page and wonder what to write. The structure does the heavy lifting. And when journaling becomes easier, it becomes more sustainable. And when it becomes sustainable, it starts to affect how you think, how you feel, and what you notice in your life. Have you ever had a period where you started paying attention to a specific thing, and then suddenly you saw it everywhere? That's the mind at work. When you focus on abundance, you start noticing opportunities. When you focus on confidence, you start noticing where you're capable. When you focus on love, you start acting more open. This is why thoughts are things, not because a thought physically transforms your life in one dramatic moment, but because repeated thoughts shape perception, behavior, and eventually outcome. And guided journaling helps you steer that process. If you want your journal practice to really work, keep it simple. Be specific. Don't just write, "I want a better life." Better in what way? More peaceful mornings, a job that respects your time, a relationship that feels safe, a body that feels energized, a mind that feels calm. The more specific you are, the easier it is for your subconscious to build a path toward it. And one more thing, don't underestimate gratitude. Gratitude is not just a nice add-on, it's a powerful way to train the mind to notice evidence, and evidence matters because the subconscious loves proof. When you write down what's already working, what's already improving, and what you already have, you're building trust with yourself and with the process. That trust changes your energy, and your energy changes your actions. Now, if you're someone who's just getting started, I'd suggest looking for a guided manifestation journal that includes a daily check-in, a few intentional prompts, a gratitude section, and space for affirmations or visualizations. You want something that feels supportive, not overwhelming. Something that helps you stay in motion. Because the real goal isn't to have perfect entries. The real goal is to create a daily practice that keeps reminding your subconscious, "This is who I am becoming." And once that message starts landing, everything begins to shift in subtle ways first. You speak differently. You choose differently. You notice different opportunities. You tolerate less. You expect more. You become the kind of person who can hold the life you've been asking for. That's what thoughts are things really means to me. Not that you can wish your way into a new reality, but that your mind, through repetition and intention, becomes one of the most powerful forces in shaping your reality. So if you've been waiting for a sign to start, this is it. Pick a guided journal, open the page, write the truth of what you want, write the truth of who you're becoming, and keep going even when it feels small, especially when it feels small, because small repeated actions are how the subconscious learns, and once it learns, everything changes. If this message hit home for you, start your daily manifestation practice today. Keep it simple, stay consistent, and remember, your thoughts are never just thoughts.